Hello everyone and welcome to the first video episode of Cult Classic Society. I'm Tim Martini and I'm joined by my pal, Bobby Davis. Bobby, how you doing, buddy?
I am very good, Tim, actually. The World Darts Championship is going on, to date the recording as we always do. I'm just having a great time watching some people play darts. And I'm really excited about doing our first video episode. Just to clarify, I said it in the first episode of our Nerd News new thing we're doing, but this will still be available as an audio on Spotify and Google and Apple and wherever else you listen to the regular audio, but it will also be on YouTube where you can see us talking shit.
Yeah, and now we have to mind how we look while we're doing this.
Oh, Tim, we usually look like such shit when we record. I've actually
and everything. We're actually dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, I went self-referential and I put my Ducks jersey on. And look, I've got my collection of trainers and my guitars and Tommy Wiseau looking real creepy.
So I got Venom statue there, got an Evil Dead poster right there. My image is flipped, so this is really difficult for me to point out everything. Yeah, we got a nice Godzilla collection up there.
The room backwards, look. maybe we'll flip this in post.
But yeah, this is exciting stuff. And just to quickly, let's keep things rolling. I've got news of myself because this episode comes out on the 17th. On the 15th actually.
Dates are hard, Tim. Come on.
Dates are hard. In 2 days' time from when you'll be watching, listening. It's still interesting to say watching. My new song will be out. My first original.
Oh, God. That can't be good. I mean, yay.
So it's nothing about Evil Dead yet. So,
yeah, there will be an Evil Dead song. I know there'll be an Evil Dead song.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be an Evil Dead song.
It's already been written as we speak. The song is called Waves, and we'll have links to where you can find it in the description. But yeah, I'm super proud of this one. Not that kind of way. It's more like
Tim, you still have to say stuff for the audio version as well.
Oh, sorry. Like to see everyone, like to see. But enough about us. We're here to talk about Good Omens, an episode that, this was going to take a while to do, but as we were speaking in last episodes, you got really excited talking about it, Bobby. So I thought, as a New Year's treat, we should do this.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch. This has been on my watch list for probably over a year, maybe even 2. I love David Tennant and Michael Sheen, and I've been wanting to watch this for a while. Just haven't quite got round to it. There's a million other things to watch, and on top of that, life.
Yeah, I mean, so I never actually read the original book that this was based off because Neil Gaiman wrote this for Terry Pratchett back in 1990, and then Neil Gaiman himself, he was working with Amazon for American Gods, and then that led to this. So I was just intrigued by it mainly because it was David Tennant and Michael Sheen working together.
Yeah, I mean, I've read one Neil Gaiman book that I really liked, which was called Neverwhere. It's about
I read the comic of that, actually.
Oh, yeah, the book's great as well. It's the secret society living in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. So I like Gaiman. He's also done some great stuff for Doctor Who, so...
because he did The Doctor's Wife and Nightmare in Silver.
He does.
We don't talk about.
Yeah, he does the creepy ones most of the time.
Yeah, because I was a big fan of Neil Gaiman because American Gods is one of my favorite books, actually. So I was really happy with how that series was going. So to hear he was doing another one with David Tennant doing his Doctor voice again.
Oh my God, he's just the Doctor. A lot of the mannerisms as well.
Yeah, it's so similar.
It's like Gaiman and Pratchett were like, yeah, just be the Doctor.
So did you know anything else about other cast members that was in this show, or did you just know about it being Michael Sheen and Tennant?
That's all I knew, and there was a couple of other actors that come up that I love, so that's cool.
That's good, and we're just going to dive straight into the first episode when we get a nice little monologue from God herself.
Oh, the fact that God's a woman has probably pissed so many people off. Oh.
Yep. This led to a petition against Netflix to cancel the series. in which Neil Gaiman himself's like, yeah, Netflix cancel my series.
Even though it's Prime.
Yeah. So, there was already a misguided rage and everything. But did you recognize the voice of God? And I know you probably did because Amazon X-Ray probably cheated and told you.
Yeah, Amazon X-Ray, yeah, it does tell you. I watched it on my computer as well, so every time I moved the mouse, it was coming up with who was in which scene and stuff.
I just realized the cool thing about doing video now is I can show you how I watch this. A nice steelbook.
Oh, very nice. Look at that.
Got this from CEX for £12.
Oh, God. People give away some treasures, don't they?
They do. Yeah, obviously, so Frances McDormand being the voice of God, that already had a lot of issues. She states that the Earth was created on the 21st of October, 4000 BC at 9:13 a.m.
What's so funny about this is a lot of people who are into sci-fi and stuff are like, no. Like, the story should always be self-contained. So, in this version of this universe, all the stuff in the Bible is true. That's fine.
Yeah.
That works for me as a story point.
And that's it, because for like sci-fi and religion, like in different shows, they always like mess it, like find ways to blend it. Like in American Dad, there's a joke where Jesus meets Roger, and he goes, an alien, one of my father's side projects. So I think, like, and you said, this is a work of fiction, so it doesn't matter, does it?
I was about to make a joke then, but I'll leave it.
God states that the dinosaurs were put there as a joke, or the fossils.
This whole intro scene, I love it. It really, not the sense of humor, but also, if it was done now, graphically, how I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy would be done.
Yeah.
Like, the sense of humor is very Hitchhikers. You know that, like, Neil Gaiman really obviously looks up to Douglas Adams.
Yeah. Because this is also, like, a lot of the writing in this is just reworked from what him and Pratchett wrote in the 90s novel as well.
Well, yeah, again, because you know who his influences are and who his friends were, you can kind of hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then we see the Garden of Eden, where the snake tempts Eve to eat the apple, and Adam and Eve being black also had a lot of issues.
Oh, the first 2 minutes of this episode, I was like, so many horrible neckbeards are going to be so upset. And let's be honest, the cradle of life in Africa, where basically all life was formed from, the first people were black people, and people can't accept this as canon. People make Jesus white when he was Middle Eastern. What the hell?
I know. It's still one of like the funniest things to me. So, and as Adam and Eve leave the Garden of Eden, Adam has a flaming sword. And this is where we see that the snake was Crowley. And he's joining Aziraphale, played by Michael Sheen. And this is their first interaction with each other. And they're already talking about the differences between good and evil, which really just sets the whole tone for the show.
He's called Crawley at this point as well, not Crowley.
Yeah.
That changes, yeah.
Yeah, he prefers Crowley. I think Crawley was just a thing because, I don't know if it's because he was a snake or whatever, but
yeah. I like that Tennant's hair immediately, so he's got the long hair now, but as you go through, the hair changes with the era, whereas Michael Sheen's character just keeps the same kind of
curly. Yeah.
I like that Crowley wonders about God's plan here, and it's that kind of, hey, why is he so cruel? Which is a lot of kind of atheist point of like, if there is a God, why does so many awful things constantly happen?
And that's a big thing about this series, especially with like an angel and demon being friends. That's like the central conflict between those two. Because Aziraphale just keeps saying the great plan is ineffable. We don't understand it. Only God understands it. So it's God's will, so we can't question it.
Yeah, and yeah, I think this was written tongue-in-cheek by Gaiman, because every time he says that, it's something awful has happened.
Yeah, and what I find, and they even say, because Aziraphale gives the flaming sword to Adam, and even Crowley's going like, were you allowed to do that?
Iffy.
And there's a funny thing where Crowley says, it'd be funny if I, the demon, did the good thing and you, the angel, did the bad thing. Aziraphale goes, no, it wouldn't.
I know his full name is Aziraphale, but for my note's sake and for the fact that it's quite a long name, I'm going to be calling him Azzy.
Good old Azzy. I love how when it starts to rain, because Aziraphale is just an angel, so just inherently nice, he immediately shelters Crowley with his wing.
Yeah, and that is something that you're not going to hear or see Crowley doing at all. What's weird is he is a consummate bastard, but as their friendship develops, you do see him kind of doing stuff for Azzy.
Yeah.
No one else.
No one else. It's only for him, and because when this was written, it was written as a love story. So we've just seen it slowly develop.
Yeah, I mean, there is clearly some erotic subtext between them. Not quite this early on, but even by the end of this episode, you do see it.
Yeah, because it's just introductions, so
yeah,
you don't want to immediately go bam, they're gay.
I know, another thing to piss everyone off.
But funny thing about this, so when this series came out, Neil Gaiman was being called out on Twitter for saying, why weren't you saying this was a gay couple? And he said they're celestial beings. They have no concept of gender.
Yeah,
it's just an ethereal love story. Is the way
they just happen to present as men on Earth.
Yes, exactly. What did you think of the 2D title sequence?
I love the 2D title sequence, but it is the second thing in this show that's made me think of Desperate Housewives. because, come with me on this, the voiceover does not sound like the woman who does Desperate Housewives. And 2, they have a 2D animated title sequence as well that ends with Eve taking an apple from a snake.
I will say that I've never watched Desperate Housewives, so I wouldn't know.
You know what? I hadn't until the lockdown, and when everyone was just looking for something to watch. My wife was like, "I watched this when I was younger. Do you want to watch some of it?" And we watched some of it. We watched the first couple of series. It was alright.
At what point does John Barrowman show up?
I don't think we got there actually.
Oh no, you got to go back to it then. Now we flash forward to 2008, and we get introduced to 2 more demons who are on their way to meet Crowley, who is now going by Crowley.
I like that you're saying it right, because one of my best friends, his surname is Crowley, and they in the show just say Crowley.
Yeah,
and I think it's definitely Crowley because I've known a Crowley for 20 years.
Only the demons need to call him Crowley, because I know Aziraphale calls him Crowley.
Yeah, just the actor's chosen pronunciation.
Yeah, I think that's it. They just all had different pronunciation of it, because also they don't know how Earth works, so they probably don't understand different pronunciations and stuff. I love how Crowley just shows up listening to Bohemian Rhapsody.
He shows up late, and then he explains that he was late and talks about the route he took here like a dad.
Yeah,
so funny. Have you ever got to a party and all the 40 pluses are just talking about the route they took there?
No.
I remember it more as a kid, and all the adults at a family party would be, I came down this way and I went that way.
I think it's because I just travel by train to places, so because it's in London, it's just public transport. So you say, I took the Northern Line or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, same thing, different
plan, different lifestyle. Yeah, I love how they recount their evil deeds to influence people. One of them talks about tempting a priest, and another tempting a politician, and in 10 years' time they'll both be ours. And Crowley's I took down a mobile network and corrupted 15 million people with rage, and they just don't get it.
Yeah, they don't understand the modern person's obsession with their phone. Clearly, I think if a demon was to do that, it would have a lot of an effect. There would be. I've been saying for the last couple of years, it feels like we're one incident away from another London riot, and it feels like if all the mobile phones went out for a couple of days, yeah.
It'd be like the giggle the rights and the giggle of Doctor Who.
Oh, I would, yeah, just because he ain't got no phone signal. 100%.
So what's happening is that Tennant Crowley, he needs to deliver the son of Satan.
Yes,
The picnic basket.
Yeah, they don't show you what it is at first, do they? Until he goes in the car and he has a look.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things that before that reveal that made me laugh. There's one where Crowley says "ciao" to the other demons, and they say, "What does that mean?" And the other goes, "I think it's Italian for food." That really made me chuckle.
There's a bit where the guy, one of the demons says, Lego here would give his right arm to be you. And he responds like going, well, someone's right arm.
And when he
what are you gonna say?
when he gets into the car, he's listening to BBC Radio 4, and a voice that I only presume is the devil, I guess, takes over it to kind of explain the mission more. And I was like, I knew BBC Radio 4 was the devil. I knew it.
And obviously he's going, shit, because he doesn't want to bring on Armageddon. He likes living on Earth.
Yeah, he's kind of enjoying the luxuries that Earth brings. Although, kind of, he doesn't say that yet, but you get the idea that he's obviously against it straight away.
Yeah. So then we go to Aziraphale, who's eating sushi, and he speaks fluent Japanese.
I mean, he's been around as long as he has.
Yeah, he's probably learned like every language under the sun.
Yeah.
And he's interrupted by Gabriel, who is played by John Hamm.
Presumably the Archangel Gabriel.
Yes, yeah, that is exactly him.
Gabriel knows something's up as well. He knows that the bad guys, if you will, are up to something.
Yeah, they have intel. So you didn't know John Hamm was in this?
Not until he appeared as Gabriel, no.
Because I remember seeing the trailer and just like seeing him appear in just like a brief cameo. I was like, oh, interesting. So it was like, because I listened to David Tennant's podcast he did back in 2019, and
that was a good podcast.
And he interviewed John Hamm in it, and he spoke about getting this role and meeting Neil Gaiman for the first time. And what happened was they went to a sushi restaurant and just ate there for like the whole afternoon. The next day, that sushi restaurant got shut down by the police.
Oh, fuck. Oh, mate. You're bad, but you're just bad luck, you lot. Getting showing up at sushi restaurants, getting them closed down.
So Heaven thinks that Aziraphale's on Earth to monitor Crowley to make sure he doesn't do anything nefarious. Obviously not knowing they're best friends.
Best buds.
And it's like where Gabriel goes, it's a miracle he hasn't spotted you yet. I know. Miracles are what we do.
I'm very good at my job. Shifty eyes. We get to the next scene was another surprise for me, because you get Arthur and Deirdre Young, who are having a baby. Deirdre's got into labour. They're driving down like a country road, pitch black. And the two actors, I was like, I love these actors. Daniel Mays is amazing. And Deirdre Sheehan Brooke, who is also amazing. She plays Sherlock's sister, isn't it? In Sherlock?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
In that one episode.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, Daniel Mays, he's like in everything British.
Oh, it's because he's brilliant. Like, there's no denying every time he gets a role, he smashes it. And there was one that me and Katie started watching where there was like an underground illegal surgeon who was operating out of one of the abandoned tube stops. Oh. And he was like working for him or something. And I think it got cancelled after one series, but it was really good. I was like, why did that get cancelled?
I don't have to check that out. So they're on their way to give birth to the local hospital, but on their way as well.
Give birth to the local hospital?
Yeah. It's going to be a weird birth.
Give birth at the local hospital.
Yes.
Tim.
We're not that out. I am proud of what I said. On the way, an American diplomat's wife. And did you recognize that diplomat?
Oh, instantly.
Even without
Nick Overman. Yeah.
Beards, you can recognize.
Yeah, I'm not even a big Parks and Rec fan or anything, but I know who he is.
You just have to does that distinct voice.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a pretty distinct face even without the tash. And stuff.
But the nuns at this hospital are the satanic nuns of the Chattering Order of Saint Beryl.
So Satanist nuns, I was here for this. I didn't know there was such a thing.
So their plan is to swap the American baby with the son of Satan. I was like, immediately just thought of The Omen.
I've not seen The Omen. This is something very up your street.
I mean, that's just literally the plot of The Omen.
give the son of Satan to someone powerful.
Yeah, literally an American diplomat.
Oh wow! Well,
That's how the movie ends up. 80s or
so
70s.
they probably
Yeah.
nicked it from
Well, they reference it being an American, like based on like an American story, like I think in the second episode. So
okay. Yeah.
so it's very self-referential, and like they knew what they were doing. So there's Sister Mary, who is already unaware of what's happening. She's a bit of an airhead. She's not what you need at this moment in time.
Yeah, I recognised her straight away. She is in Doctor Who in one episode, but she's also... Do you ever watch Tracy Beaker?
Yes.
She's in that as well. She's one of the main kind of adults in that.
Oh, wow. Who is she in Doctor Who, though? I don't remember.
Oh, she was a bit character in one episode. I can't remember.
No, probably one of the Tennant ones.
I think it was a Tennant one for sure, yeah.
So as the head sister's just telling everyone what they do, Mary's like, oh, I've been given nothing. She's like, get the biscuits.
That is a job of your level.
So the Youngs and the Americans arrive at the same time, and Crowley passes Arthur and goes, has it started yet? What room is it? Thinking that he's the American.
And this joke runs on that people keep thinking that Arthur is this American diplomat, despite his accent.
Well, it's only Mary who does, because again, she just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, even though she hears him speak with an English accent.
And he says that he was based in Suffolk.
Yeah.
We have a Suffolk here.
I love that clearly the one who's only trusted to get biscuits is the one that Crowley bumps into first. He goes, yeah, you, take the baby.
Yeah, take it to room 3. That's clearly where the American is. So that's what Mary goes to do. And Crowley looks over his new son, who is now the devil. The Antichrist.
Arthur looks over his new son.
Yeah, Arthur, yes.
Crowley. And there's a really great scene here. After they've shown Arthur the boy, there's a wink conversation where the two nuns wink at each other.
Yeah, the myth-information.
There's like an inner monologue told by God about what they both thought that wink meant, and they both misunderstood what the other meant. So funny.
So I love with the American, they're like, what's she called a son? And she goes, Warlock. It's a great British name.
Well, it's not just, it doesn't go straight to that. In both sets of kids, there are two nuns trying to talk them into either demonic or biblical names. So they start with Damien, who is kind of renowned as the son of the devil, right? That's Damon. And then they go for a few more, and they end up with Warlock and Adam.
Yeah. So, but what I love is that you just never find out what happens to the American baby.
No, Warlock, gone.
Yeah, like Warlock and Adam, but the actual American baby, gone. You'll never hear from him again.
What? What? Do they not bring it back over 2 series? They don't reference it again?
Nope.
Oh, God.
So Crowley calls Aziraphale at Aziraphale's bookshop, which makes sense for him because he just wants to own all the literary wonders of the world.
I love this next scene because you get that scene, and then you get God talking about how St James's Park is the best place to meet in London because the ducks are used to spy bread, and they talk about like Russian bread from the Russian spies. This is an unbelievable set of dialogue that really just reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You don't need this information. It's pointless, but it's like world building.
That's what I love about it. And I think the annoying thing about season 2 of Good Omens is that there's no more narration after it. So the narration is only for season 1.
Oh, really? That's a shame.
Yeah. So they're discussing it's just going to set up the war against heaven and hell, and then heaven will vanquish hell. And Crowley's raised to the good boys like, do you have any composers in heaven? Because we got Mozart, Beethoven, we got one of them. Do you have any?
Because they're all fucking wrong-uns.
And then Crowley basically tells Aziraphale, if this war goes through, you will lose everything you love on earth, and you'll be stuck in eternity in heaven.
All the books and the music and the food. No, you ain't getting none of that.
So they start to realize that maybe they got to team up to save the world. But first things first, they have to dine at the Ritz.
And they jump into Crowley's cool-ass old-school car. And the way he drives around central London, I mean, I've seen people try that, but they're usually driving white vans.
Yeah, Crowley just has no regard for road safety.
So good.
So after that, they head back to Aziraphale's bookshop because they want to just absorb copious amounts of alcohol.
I was surprised that they were drunk when I was first watching this. Oh god, they're demons and angels. They can get smashed. Presumably, it takes loads.
Yeah.
And then Crowley's like, while they're drunk, is trying to convince Aziraphale that they need to stop Armageddon because, you know, all the animals are innocent. And they sober up. The way they sober up is brilliant.
They literally just refill the bottles from all the alcohol in their bodies.
They're like, transport the alcohol back out of their body.
That's a
gross
recycling. I was going to say the demons dissolved the covenant and they set fire to the building as well. So there'll be no evidence of everything they did there.
Yes, they killed, at least one of the nuns gets killed.
Yeah,
they burn all the insides.
Yeah, so there'll be no proof. So Crowley says it's okay to stop the diabolical plan because it's stopping evil. So heaven will have to allow it, right?
Obviously, that makes sense.
It makes sense. So their plan is to influence the child's upbringing. So Crowley will become the nanny, and Aziraphale will become the gardener.
So this is 5 years later we jump to. So they said there's 11 years till the end of the world, and we jump forward 5 years. So we've already lost nearly half of that time. 6 years away, and like you said, they get hired by the American family to be the nanny and the gardener. And Tennant here, where he's trying to influence the kid to be naughty, he's just like, don't listen to the other one.
And then he sings an evil not nursery lullaby.
So good. Tennant's, well, I mean, both Sheen and Tennant in this are brilliant, but because I think Tennant had a lot of fun playing this kind of campy evil demon.
Yeah.
And I think he smashes it out of the park.
I think just like a period of time where he was finally just getting like more like villainous roles as well, because he obviously had Jessica Jones beforehand, and then he had a American movie called Bad Samaritan where he's got to play a psycho. So I think he was just relishing being like more evil characters, and then getting to do with like in the UK again rather than like on American shows.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was necessarily just about being evil. I genuinely think the campiness of it he relishes, because I think that's what he relishes about the Doctor as well.
Yeah, because we should say, like, with Crowley dressed up as the nanny, it's just him with a bit of makeup on.
And in a dress. Yeah.
In a dress. So it's, just very campy. And I think that's what leans into more what Neil Gaiman said about their, like, view on gender, like, being celestial beings. They don't see it that way.
No, they're not bothered. Tennant / Crowley just decides to hide by dressing up as a woman. Doesn't bother him.
And the show doesn't like draw attention to it going, that's a man in a dress.
No.
But even to the world, they see this as a woman, which is, it's just nice to see it done that way.
Nice and progressive.
Exactly.
They go to their head offices, which are just heaven and hell, which I thought was really funny.
And the literal staircases.
Yeah, and
you get stairway to heaven.
Yeah, and Crowley just like absorbs through the floor. So rather than like a down escalator, which is what Aziraphale goes on, Crowley just kind of absorbs into the floor. Yeah, it's really cool.
And they're both telling their bosses how everything's going well. Crowley's telling all the demons that he's the most evil child we've ever seen. But when Aziraphale tells all the other angels, they applaud him, but they don't believe in him. They tell him that plan's useless, that the child will obviously grow up to be evil, and an Armageddon will come around and we'll have our big fight.
Aziraphale is going to fail. That's just how it is.
That's just how it has to be. We now jump forward, and it's 6 days before the end of the world, and the demons are feeding the Hellhound.
Oh, the Hellhound is brilliant. Although we jump before that, we find out one of the regular meeting points of Crowley and Aziraphale, which is just on a bus.
Yeah,
on a bus. Yeah,
but they do it like the old like fashion spy way, to sit behind the other one. We're talking to each other, but not sitting next to each other.
We don't know each other, shifty eyes.
No, I'm just looking forward and just talking to the person in front of me.
The Hellhound is brilliant. You just see a paw. It reminded me of Harry Potter quite a bit. I can't remember what the dog's called, but when they break into,
Yeah.
I don't remember what film.
I don't remember.
I've only seen them. I've only seen them once, I think, twice maybe. But yeah,
And they state that once the boy names the Hellhound, the process towards Armageddon will begin.
yeah, that's ominous. I like that there's a definitive point at the beginning of Armageddon. Let's be accurate about this.
Exactly. Crowley just suggests, why not just killing Warlock?
Yeah, that's a simple way of doing things. And then
Aziraphale says he just can't do it. Even if it's not Armageddon, he can't kill a child.
so they're watching Warlock and his mum walking through a park. Do you know what park that is?
No, what was it?
I recognised it straight away because the mum says, and then you see a clip of it as well. Oh, look, this is what they used to think dinosaurs looked like in the past. There's only one place in London, maybe even the world, that has, like, I think there's about 20 statues of what they thought dinosaurs looked like, and it's Crystal Palace Park. So funny. They're so weird looking. Anyone in London, if you've never been and you want to laugh at what the kind of old paleontologists thought dinosaurs looked like, go to Crystal Palace Park. And what's great about it is they all wore away and got destroyed by the weather, and they put new ones in that look like the old ones. So
They're
good.
historical landmarks. They need to be preserved.
Exactly. Crowley has a doctor cut.
He does. He's just with the ginger hair.
He looks like a ginger. Yeah, looks like a ginger version of 10/14.
And I love it. But so Aziraphale says he wants to do magic at the party.
I
But it's
love
not just
how
like him doing normal magic that he, as an angel, can do. No, he wants to do street magic.
he wants to do sleight of hand magic, and Crowley fucking hates it. He gets so pissed off.
I just think he knows it's beneath them. So he's like, why do you bother?
Yeah, why is he doing it? It's so stupid. But he's got such quirks about like books and stuff, so it's not surprising that he's got a little hobby. It's like sleight of hand magic.
Yeah. So we cut to the party, and Aziraphale, as you could probably tell, isn't doing a good job.
One of the best things about this is when the kid's like, "You're shit," and the other kid goes, "I had Penn and Teller." It's like, oh, I see what kind of kids we're dealing with here.
Hey, don't be dissing Penn and Teller there.
No, I'm just saying they're snobby kids who got celebrity magicians.
Well, I mean, if they're friends with American diplomat's son, I'm guessing they're all very wealthy.
Yeah, probably. Private school kids, isn't it?
So the Hellhound is sent out, and it's on his way to Warlock, we assume. Maybe. No. Sad.
Yeah. Aziraphale uses... they don't show this, but it's only what you can assume what happens. Clearly uses some real magic to get them on side.
Yeah. But a food fight also breaks out Warlock's party as well.
Yeah. I assume that was something to do with him and his magic and throwing stuff around. Because they say it was a great party by the end of it. So
yeah, all of a sudden it's an amazing party. So yeah, he must have like just given up. So Crowley gets contacted by Dagon, who asks, what's the Hellhound at the party? And what did it look like? And this is when Crowley and Aziraphale realise it's the wrong child.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense. They do jump straight to that conclusion, but I suppose it's the only thing that makes sense.
I mean, what else could it be? So this is when we're introduced to the Dems with Pepper, Brian, Wensleydale, and Adam.
I love this group. They're just like the Goonies or something.
The British Goonies.
Yeah, and the best one is Pepper by far because she is all sass. She's so good.
She takes no shit.
Oh yeah, she's like the little bully of the group.
It's great. So Adam talks about how he wants a dog for his birthday. And if he had a dog, it'd be a little Rottweiler that would follow him around and do tricks. And he would name it Dog. Just to keep it simple. So
what happens?
The Hellhound turns into a little Rottweiler and just jumps at Adam.
That's not a Rottweiler. He turns into a border collie.
Is it Border Collie? I don't know my dog breeds, to be honest.
He doesn't say a specific breed, Adam. He just says he wants a little dog. So obviously hearing...
I thought he said a little Rottweiler.
No, he just says little dog.
Oh.
And hearing that, the Hellhound turns into a much smaller dog than it...
Yeah, I don't know my dog breeds. I just know big dog, medium dog, small dog.
Actually, I'd say a Border Collie isn't a little dog. It's definitely at least a medium dog. But it is a Border Collie, for sure.
So I love how... so we cut back to Crowley and Aziraphale talking, and Aziraphale points out that Crowley claimed that he started the Spanish Inquisition and the Second World War.
Well, you know, these things need to be kicked off, don't they? You got to keep these things happening.
Somehow, yeah. And like a little like chill goes down Crowley's spine, and he can tell that the Hellhound has found his master.
It has been released,
and now they know Armageddon is happening. So that's how the first episode ends.
So good. Really enjoyed this episode. I think Sheen and Tennant absolutely smash it. So good. Both characters are so out of place, but well done.
Yeah.
Like, they're out of place in the world, but they're not only that, they seem out of place with their own kind as well. So really like...
They're like almost like nomads to both worlds.
It feels like they could both be versions of the Doctor, because he's a nomad to his own people as well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of Tennant's performance of...
For sure. Having watched a lot of Tennant stuff, he doesn't always fall back on that. So the fact that it is so much like 10 was probably a choice.
Yeah, I think that was probably asked of him to do, to be honest. It felt very... it felt like a choice rather than I'm just playing a British character again. Better do this.
So good. No, I love it. Absolutely loved it.
So good. And also just Sheen and Tennant's chemistry together. It's just incredible.
You can tell they're friends. Like,
yeah.
I know we obviously saw in lockdown they did those ones where they were on Zoom calls, which is very funny. But
yes, I mean, because after this first season, that's when they started doing staged.
Yeah, that's what it's called, staged.
Yeah.
So
and
good.
Staged is just incredible.
So funny. Can't believe they did 2 series in like a year, because what else were they going to do? I suppose.
Yeah, well, and it was very easy to do. I mean, it's basically what we're doing.
We could write a script and do it ourselves using the setup we've got.
Exactly. But we're going to go straight into episode 2, and it's Thursday, and it's
episode 2, the book. Oh, episode 1 was called In the Beginning, by the way.
I didn't even read because obviously on my Blu-ray it doesn't say the episode titles. It is episode 1, episode 2.
Prime, it does.
Yeah. But it's Thursday, and it's 2 days before Armageddon. And
Armageddon's a Saturday. What a bummer.
Not even a Sunday.
Yeah. Or it could be a Monday, you know. Let everyone have the weekend. Jesus.
And Gabriel and another archangel enter the shop, and they cannot blend in.
No, that's so funny. Straight away, they're like, I'm buying pornography. Really reminds me of Homer Simpson.
It's a pornography store. I was buying pornography.
Which shows you, even though he's a human, Homer blends in as well as an archangel trying to hide himself.
Because Homer is not human.
No.
But
it's
what
really great.
When they go into the back, they go, we completely fooled them. Humans are so gullible.
There's a joke straight after that I really like, which is, something smells evil. And then Aziraphale goes, that'll be the Jeffrey Archer books, I'm afraid. Fuck Jeffrey Archer.
So Gabriel tells Aziraphale that the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are being summoned, and that you can't have a war without war.
No,
that's a good joke.
That's his little joke, because one of the 4 horsemen turns out, it's called War. Yeah, and
I think that's a good joke, to be honest.
It's a dad joke.
Yeah.
Crowley is watching a TV show called Pam and Sam, and the only thing I wrote here is, it's Connie Huck. How lovely.
And then the 2 demons just appear on the talk show and go, Armageddon's happening, Crowley. You better be ready.
Yeah, they just take the place of the presenters, don't they, and start talking directly to Crowley from the telly.
That's good. Crowley's apartment in hell looks nice. I think, I don't know if that's the equivalent of like a high-rise penthouse in hell.
Yeah, man, he's doing all right for himself.
So this is so they also say that the American family will be taken to the Middle East where the war will take place.
Yes, and they make a comment about how that's where they start like most of the wars now. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
bang on the social
Bang on, yeah.
nail there. There's a peace agreement going on, and it turns into a Mexican standoff.
Yeah, because at first it's like very like nice and like they're all being very chummy with each other, going, it's good, we're finally going to get this war resolved. Then an American journalist shows up, and all of a sudden everyone starts getting very tense to each other.
They argue over who's going to sign first.
But this is when the outsourced summoner for the Horsemen arrives. It's just a postman.
I love this postman. He just goes to the far ends of the fucking world, and he's acting as if he's doing the local rounds. It's so funny.
So he gives the journalist her package. It's a sword, and it's revealed that she is War. And what happens as she walks away?
They all start fighting.
A war takes place.
A war breaks out yet again.
So, yeah, and that's how the cold open starts. We get the intro, and then we are sent to 1656 to watch a witch burning.
I love how all of them are like, let's burn her, she's a witch. How do you know she's a witch? Well, she did all this to help us. Fucking bastards.
Like, she did exercising.
Yeah, and then she just, like, three of them say stuff that she helped them with. It's like, come on.
That's what it was like for, like, in back then. Like they were making herbal medicine. It's like, bah.
Is it one of the ones she can read as well? Isn't that one of the things?
Yeah.
As a witch. So funny.
So we get introduced to Major Adultery Pulsifier, played by Jack Whitehall. Which I did a double take when I saw that at first.
Yeah, he's well disguised in this one, less so later.
Less so. Opinions on Jack Whitehall?
I don't love Jack Whitehall. I don't think he's very funny at all. He also, I don't know, something like when Romish does the things with his mum, it all seems very natural. When Jack does the things with his dad, it all feels very staged.
Yeah.
And it probably all is staged, even Romish, but there's something that feels more natural about the way they do it. I don't know. Plus, I just don't think he's particularly funny. He's all right as an actor. Like,
I think his stand-up isn't funny. But he's a good comedic actor, just not good stand-up. I just think...
Yeah, I mean, he plays himself most of the time.
I mean, it's just because he's very posh, so when he's just like doing stand-up about very first world problems.
In Fresh Meat and...
Oh, he's hilarious in Fresh Meat.
Bad Education. Yeah, but he's just playing himself in both of them.
Yeah, but because it's scripted, it's not his writing.
No, yeah, he's fine in them because they've gone just be you, Jack, and he does it, and they're actually he works for the part. But in general, I don't love him. No. Also, the fact that he had something to do with the start of AEW was weird.
Well, he's just a massive fan of it.
Yeah,
it was a British ITV deal.
Yeah, obviously.
So they're going to burn Angus Nutter, who can see the future and has a lovely little book of predictions. And they go, oh, no, they can't be real. It's like, well, adultery came into town. The name is adultery, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love the title. Like you said, it's called like the lovely book of prophecies or something.
The completely accurate predictions of Angus Nutter.
Something like that, yeah. And she says she's the last true witch in England.
Which is, considering how she can predict everything, is very accurate.
Yeah.
As she's being burnt, she tells all of the townspeople to come close. And it's because she has gunpowder and nails in her dress that she just lets loose. So as she gets lit on fire, the whole town blows up.
So funny. Like, she's like, all right, fuck you all.
Her book gets passed down to her daughter.
Yeah.
And the first prediction they read is in 1980, an apple will arise that no man can eat.
And we then jump forward a few hundred years, and we're to Agnes's relatives, her descendants, and it turns out one of their mums bought 5,000 shares in Apple.
Yeah, so they lived well off. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're living like on a Californian beachfront property in a place that would probably cost, kind of $15-20 million.
I think that's always the thing. Like, did you ever have like that school ground like conversation. Oh, what would you do if you had like the ability to travel back in time? Like I'd always say like I would go back in time and invest in like tell my family to invest in like Microsoft and Apple.
McDonald's can tell them do the Back to the Future, tell them the outcome of sports events, especially like Leicester winning the Premier League in 2016. Because if you put money on that at the beginning, you're going to be very rich because no one thought that was going to happen.
In fact, you just make all these really smart investments so that no one else could predict.
So yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because when you're a kid, you're like, I would go and see the Middle Ages, or I would go see this and that, and then you're like, how could I make money out of this as you hold it?
It's a capitalist society. We've got to figure out how to do this.
The family say it's all on the little girl to now save the world.
Yeah, anathema. Yes. So I'm just going to call Anna because she get precise to save the world.
We get a really good little joke here because they say, and there's another child who will also be important here, and they go to zoom in on like this terrace house in the UK. They do a slow pan into the window and it bumps the window.
Yeah,
but the camera actually hits the pane of glass.
I love just like little jokes like that.
It's just a joke that you're not expecting. So good.
Yeah, this is Newton Pulsifier, so descendant of Adultery Pulsifier, who his character is that he's shit with technology.
Yeah, manages to take out the entire street by trying to put together a computer.
And then he becomes an adult and he gets a job in a company and he tries to log into the computer and it just causes another power outage. So, of course, he gets fired for his troubles. So we now cut to present-day Anna, who is landed in the UK. And they say, oh, you here for business or pleasure? Like, I'm here to stop Armageddon.
And then she just goes, vacation. Yeah, fine, whatever.
So, then Newton, he meets a witchfinder sergeant called Shadwell.
Yes, a mad Scottish bloke called Shadwell.
Yeah, it took me a while to recognize him, but I forgot the actor's name, but he's in Better Call Saul, actually. He was in the
first season.
Really? Yeah, he plays Saul's brother.
Okay, I haven't actually sat down and watched Better Call Saul yet. It's on my list, though.
Fantastic series. We won't cover on this because it's too dense of a show.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some kind of special. I was thinking stuff that we've both already watched. We should do some kind of like just a retrospective of the whole thing rather than episode by episode. Someone. Yeah, we'll do something like that in the future. Maybe for Better Call Saul.
Yeah, absolutely. So he makes Newton pay for his lunch, and then he keeps the change.
I love that. He just slips it in his pocket. It's so funny.
So So Newton obviously wants a job from him, and he asks him, how many nipples have you got?
Is that
just a normal amount?
Do witches have more? I don't understand this.
No, I don't know. Yeah, so we go back to Crowley's house and we see his luscious garden with his plants, and God says that he read a book about talking to plants to make them grow more. But he doesn't really just talk to them, does he?
It's so funny. This is one of my favourite scenes. He actually, and God says this over the voiceover, puts the fear of God into the plants. He screams at the plants and they actually like shudder.
Well, she says it's something about she doesn't just put the fear of God into them. He puts the fear of Crowley into them.
What I love is he tells them off like naughty kids. It's like, a spot? What have I told you all about getting spots?
And then he takes the plant away, basically kills it because he comes back with the empty pot.
Oh, so funny.
And then he just says, grow better.
I don't even know why that's so funny. It just is.
Because he's angry about something that's really mundane if you think about it.
I think some of it is obviously Tennant's delivery as well. So good.
And yeah, it's just it's just hilarious. So we cut to Aziraphale's apartment, and not apartment, his bookshop, and you can see that someone is calling him regarding Agnes's book, and he's kind of annoyed that he doesn't own it himself.
Yeah, and he's aware of it at this point, and we find out later on that it's crazy that he's aware of it because there is one copy in existence and no one knows where it is.
So he's annoyed that he doesn't that people ask him to have because he's worried that he himself doesn't own it, which will come into play later. So Pulsar goes to Shadwell's apartment and Madame Tracy answers the door, thinking that he's here for her.
I recognize Madame Tracy straight away. It's Miranda Richardson. It's Queenie from Blackadder. I love Miranda Richardson. And she is a sex worker in this one.
I think my favourite thing is when Shadwell sees her, he goes, "Oh," I actually have to note here, "Away, you harlot, scarlet woman, Jezebel."
I love how he talks to her like that, and she makes him like cups of tea and dinner. And she's just like, yeah, here's your dinner.
Yeah, like she knows what he's like, but she'll wear him down.
Yeah, he's mad is what he is.
So he says the most dangerous weapon we have are our scissors. It's like, why is that, lad? And he just does a stabbing motion. He was like, no, so we can cut and read. And so that is what their role as a witchfinder sergeant and private is to do. It's just to read information to eventually find a witch.
And Shadwell explains to Pulsar that the church no longer helps them with this. They're like on their own.
Yeah, I don't think like witchfinders are even a thing anymore in like real life.
I'm sure there's a society of they probably don't take themselves seriously. It's probably like a kind of not a joke. Joke's too strong a word, but kind of heritage thing where they're like, we are the witchfinders. It's like a social group.
Well, like a historical recreationist.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, that kind of thing. I bet you there are groups like that.
Yeah, I could imagine so. So Aziraphale now calls Crowley and he theorizes that something could have gone wrong at the delivery stage and that they need to find the hospital files to find who the other child was. And this is where we see how dangerous of a driver Crowley is because he's driving 90 miles per hour in central London.
He goes full GTA through the tightest, most traffic-packed streets there are in the Western world. It's insane. Whoever got to drive that car down that street for the exterior shots of the car was probably having the best day. Like whichever stunt driver that was having a great time.
I can't believe I get paid to do this.
Yeah, what a job, man. What a job.
So we finally go back to see the Dems. Wesley Dell it says he's destined to become an accountant.
Yeah, you can see that.
Pepper was conceived in a commune.
Oh, a hippie commune, yeah. This is why she's so sassy.
And Brian is apparently just the idiot of the group.
No. They say he's a good friend. He's just a bit messy.
Yeah, the idiot of the group. If you don't have an idiot in your friendship group, you do.
You do. It's you. So, hey, Matt. You know who you are.
Hey, Daniel.
Oh, Matt, Daniel.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't listen, but people who know Matt listen, and you can tell him. You can tell him I said this.
Daniel doesn't listen, but I tell him. We all let him know. So Athena is doing her Wiccan. We should also say that Athena has moved into the town that Adam lives in, and she's now in the countryside or the fields, doing her magic to track down Adam, to track down the son of Satan. Whatever. She's
also looking for the Hellhounds, so she knows that part of the Armageddon prophecy as well. She says about a beast.
Which is hilarious because, it's a tiny little dog. Yeah. Not much of a beast. They say, so the Dems automatically know that Athena is a witch because witches get their own newspaper. Which is basically just a psychic paper. Not that one, a different one.
Not Mystic Meg.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was referring to the Doctor Who psychic paper.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not that one. But one that just a Mystic Meg kind of one.
Crowley and Aziraphale talk about how the plan was set up. So they're driving, aren't they, heading towards the hospital where Adam and Warlock were born. And they're talking about how the plan was set up and how it came about.
Obviously, Aziraphale gives a nice speech like, this is what happens. We sow the seeds of evil. We always come to flounder because good will rise up. And Crowley goes, it was just an ordinary cock-up.
Yeah, I just think it was the normal cock-up. These things happen, yeah.
It just always like shows like the differences between the two, even though they don't necessarily agree with their world's viewpoints. Aziraphale still, in a way, believes in the teachings of it all.
Yeah.
Whereas Crowley just does not believe in it at all.
No, Crowley's just here he's here for a good time, not a long time. But he has been there for a long time too.
He's there for a long, good time.
Long, good time. Which could be the name of their sex tape.
So the Dems find Anathema or Anna. They're playing their own version of the Spanish Inquisition. The British Inquisition.
It's so funny. These little kids, they reminded me of the South Park where they stumble across the kids playing Harry Potter because they're just dressed up like witches and wizards and stuff. It's so good.
It just reminds me of The Stick of Truth.
Yes, that's such a great game.
Not, it's better than Fractured Butthole.
Oh,
I didn't like the combat of Fractured Butthole. Because
I like how you're saying the title of that game because there's they purposely put a gap in there so it doesn't sound like that. You're ignoring that.
Yeah, because that's the joke.
The fractured butthole.
Yeah, fractured butthole.
They purposely never say it like that.
Yeah, well, they don't even say fractured butthole for any entire game. They only did that because they knew this was how they would get it past the censors.
Oh yeah. No, don't get me wrong. They know exactly what they're doing, but I think you're the first person I've actually heard say it without that inclination.
Right.
Yeah, everyone else says it with the inclination that it's just been said on like all the advertising and stuff. And you're just like, nah.
They fell for the advertising, that's it.
Yeah, I don't tell you about fractured buttholes.
So this is when Anna sees Dog and just goes, yeah, that's not the Hellhound.
Yeah, they can't be this kid. Look, there's a little border collie, cute little kid. These kids are fine.
And the way they're torturing Brian for being a witch is just pushing him on the tire swing.
When they said they were going to play this game, it sounded really fucking ominous. Like, we're going to torture someone and find a witch. And then obviously, because they're kids, it just turns into, they're pushing him on a tire swing. And he's like, I won't tell you. Basically, he goes to say yes at first. They're like, no, you need to play along a bit more. Jesus.
And then they're going, oh, come on, I want to be tortured now.
Essentially, this game is deteriorated into who gets to go on the tire swing.
Because then even when he finally goes, yes, I am a witch, he goes, okay, we're going to let you go. Just do no more witchy things.
That's it. That's the punishment. No more witchy things for you.
Like they're such kids, and I think that's like the great thing about it, because you're seeing just how normal Adam is in the build up of starting Armageddon.
Yeah, he's still acting like a child.
So Aziraphale and Crowley arrive at the hospital, which is now a paintball range.
So funny. This bit.
Did you recognize the company that?
Yeah, so that was the company from the beginning where Jack Whitehall goes and loses the job straight away.
Yeah, because the only reason I realized that because the boss, the one that shoots Aziraphale, he's an actor from Horrible Histories.
Oh, okay.
Series. I forgot his name, but he's also on the show Ghosts as well.
Oh, I know the show. Yeah. I think I know the show. Yeah.
So we see Crowley do a demon face to scare the guy away, because obviously, they're getting shot at. And Crowley does something nice for Aziraphale.
Oh, he takes the paintball stain off his coat. I like. There's a bit right after that. That is a nice bit. Like you see, this is where you see their friendship flowering, like you said. Well, I said at the beginning, I think.
Yeah.
But what I like about this bit is they have a moral argument over guns. They're like, no, guns are bad unless good people have them. And I'm like, oh no.
They say guns give weight to a moral argument.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I mean. They're literally like, guns are only good if good people have them. It's like, yeah, but everyone thinks they're in the right. So how does that work?
So then Crowley decides to perform another little miracle by making all the guns real.
So funny. They're like, although then he's really nice about it because he gives them all like these little miraculous escapes, so no one actually dies. And I think that's where Aziraphale's like, "You're not as bad as you're."
Yeah, you see, you are nice, and Crowley just slams Aziraphale against her. Like, there's one thing I don't like being called, and that's nice.
I am a demon.
I can just tell you right now, lots of fan art of that one. One.
I don't want to know. I honestly don't. And
Tumblr's a scary place.
One of my favourite podcasts is Experience Share, the Pokemon podcast, and they always talk about fur affinity checks and stuff. I don't need to know. I don't need to know.
You knew what you're signing up for when you agreed to do a podcast with me.
I knew you were filth, but I didn't realise you would keep showing me filth. Jesus Christ.
I haven't shown it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is all just a ruse to show filth. I can hear you. I can hear it. Oh, yeah. Watch this. Oh, do you want to see the fan art? No, Tim. No, I don't. I do not want to see
It's required watching now for me.
I don't want to see what's on the, like, behind this camera on that wall.
Thankfully, it's just playing behind. I put nothing behind my monitor. Can't be distracted. As this is happening, the former nun, former Sister Mary, walks in, and Crowley immediately recognizes her. So he freezes her in place and compels her to tell the truth.
I like the way the spell is cast. He just snaps his finger,
yeah,
and she's under.
So this is when she just tells them that the records were burnt in a fire, so they have no evidence to go off.
Yes, the way that all British orphanages lost all of their paperwork. Everything got lost in a fire.
I don't forget, the demons did burn it in the last episode.
Oh, no, they did. It's always the plot device when someone's trying to find their real parent. Oh, the records got burned.
It's just because they're underfunding the NHS.
Everything leads back to that.
As they're leaving the hospital, the workers are being arrested by the police.
Yeah, because they're all shooting real guns, obviously. So, what the hell's going on here?
So now they have no idea what to do next. We see Anna looking for her telescope at sunset, doing more of her witchy powers, witchy spell stuff. And this is when God says, despite popular belief, witches don't do their spells naked. A lot of stories about witches were just written by men.
Yeah, I like that line. I was like, yeah, there it is. Always written by the patriarchy. There you go.
Yeah. You got to make witchcraft sexy. So as Anna and Crowley are both driving across the way, Crowley accidentally crashes into Athena.
Yeah, completely mows her down. And there's a line here that I love, which is, as Aziraphale says, "You hit someone," and Crowley goes, "No, someone hit me."
Aziraphale summons a light above Anna so he can get a better look at her, and he actually fixes her broken wrist and bike.
Did you catch the line he says for the spell for the light?
He says, "Let there be light."
Yeah, another Bible quote. There you go.
Of course. One of it, Anna goes, "You know what's on a light there?" So Crowley immediately gets rid of it.
Yeah, go, bye. And he offers a lift. And Crowley says, "Where's the bike going to go?" And Aziraphale magics a bike rack onto the back of his car, which he's pissed off about.
He goes, onto the bike rack. And as they're driving away, Queen's bicycle plays.
Yeah, it's almost as if Crowley's like, "Well, fine. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Let's listen to Bicycle."
And Anna looks back at her bike and realizes gears have been added to it. And she goes, "I don't have gears on my bike."
Yeah, and they kind of don't have an answer for that. But when they drop her off and Aziraphale takes the bike off the rack, the gears are magically gone again.
Yeah, he goes, "Look, a single gear bike. Nothing auspicious there."
Nothing to worry about. Nothing to look into us again about. Shift gears.
And it's like, get the hell out of this. We can't talk to her again.
She's too close to the truth.
She calls her mum, and her mum encourages her to use her pendulum to help figure things out. And this is when she realizes she dropped her book in the car.
Yeah, she left her copy of Agnes's prophecies in the back of Crowley's car.
So, yeah, that's no good because now she doesn't know what to do.
Now, Crowley and Aziraphale are talking about how they're going to find Adam, and Aziraphale says, can't we just, like, when we have to just notice him? And Crowley says, no, he's got this kind of special defense that makes him go unnoticed. Essentially,
Adam around his neck.
Essentially, Adam's got a perception filter. Yeah, it's another thing lifted from Doctor Who.
I was saying, like, they're in a classic like British cafe as well.
Yeah, they're in a greasy spoon, as we'd call it.
Yeah, love them.
Crowley doesn't know what the phrase is for what water goes off of, and he takes like 15 minutes before he goes, oh, a duck's back.
As Adam goes to sleep, well, first we cut back to the house and see Adam, Arthur and Deirdre talk about Adam keeping the dog, and they're not letting the dog stay in his room.
And Deirdre goes to check on Adam, and Adam's pretending to be asleep. And when she goes, he calls the dog out, and the dog's under his bed.
Yeah. And then as Adam's starting to go to sleep, like demonic whispering is entering his mind, so the influence is starting to take over.
Yeah. I feel like if he'd been raised as a regular little boy at this point, he's just going to go insane rather than actually like demonic.
Yeah. Well, that gets you see how that develops throughout the series.
Crowley and Aziraphale both have human operatives, and I imagine this to be like Sherlock's like Paternoster gang.
Yeah, the homeless network.
Yeah, exactly.
There's actually a fun joke about that, actually, about their network.
Oh, really? Oh, so I've watched episode 3. I was not to spoil the
surprise.
Yeah, but I was like, I wrote the note here. They both say, oh, we've got human operatives, and they both agree that both of their operatives can't work together because they're not politically sophisticated.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to see who this is. And the joke in the next one is it turns out that they're the same person.
Yeah.
Which is Shadwell.
Yeah. It's a great joke.
It is a good joke.
So, yeah, as after discussed, they arrive back at the shop, and Aziraphale spots that he has Agnes's book in his car, and he just immediately runs into his bookshop.
We get the great voiceover from God as well, saying he has signed copies of all the prophetic books, except he doesn't have a copy of this one, as it's the only one in existence. It's like, wow.
Well, and the first prophecy he reads is about the angel reading the book with his cold cocoa. He goes, ah!
He literally reads a prophecy about himself, and it's instantly true.
And while he's reading that, Crowley finally calls him out, going, yeah, I'm going to contact my human operative, and we're going to get this sorted. And Crowley's just going, okay, but bye.
What I like is he reads, Aziraphale reads all through the night, as well as it's the morning when Crowley calls.
Yeah.
And what I like is Crowley's got one of those old landlines where the phone handle itself is almost straight, apart from the bottom, it's just like a direct kind of 45-degree angle. And that is the phone my nan had. And my nan passed away over 10 years ago. Like, what? He's got such a weird mixture of old and new.
Yeah.
It's like he's collected stuff along his like thousands of years' life.
Yeah, things
and
that he
just kept some of it.
So Aziraphale reads in the book, and it's like, dial the number of the beast, and so everything says, it can't be that simple. So he dials the Tadfield area code, then 666, and he reaches Adam's family.
The Adams family. And you're so easily entertained.
See, this is the fun thing about doing a visual podcast now. We can do more jokes.
And everyone can see how easily like it is to pop you.
So yeah. And my favourite thing is Aziraphale's reaction. He goes, sorry, right number.
Yeah. So, oh shit. And then what I like as well is he doesn't, from Arthur's voice, he obviously doesn't know it, but he hears Adam talking about the dog in the background. He's like, must be this one then.
Yeah. And that's where episode 2 ends. So I guess you enjoyed it because you moved on to episode 3.
Yes, I loved it. If I'd have had time, I would have finished at least series 1. I just haven't had time. But really good show, really well acted, really well written, really funny. Definitely the influences of Douglas Adams there. You can also tell Neil Gaiman's kind of style writing. He likes fantastical worlds hidden amongst the real world. That's like one of his things that he does. And he did it before J.K. Rowling as well. So let's put that up. No, he's I really enjoyed it. I watched episode 3. That was going to like my required reading. I preferred the first episode because there was more of Tennant and Sheen in it.
Yeah,
they are the best thing about this.
So what's actually interesting about that is in the book, Aziraphale and Crowley are barely in it. The focus is mainly on all the other characters, and then they appear like sporadically throughout to add their influence, but it's mainly about like how Adam changes throughout, and then how Newton and Anna like they develop as characters and everything. Yeah, it's a very different read, but I think they realize, well, we're gonna get Michael Sheen and David Tennant on this. Maybe we should make them the focus.
Got 2 of the best British actors, and not just 2 of the best, 2 of the best actors in the world.
Yeah,
And you're gonna have them do, less than 10% of the scenes. Absolutely not. They're so good. They hit, both of them hit those roles so perfectly. Like Aziraphale is this kind of nerdy, cleaner than clean guy who gets manipulated by Crowley. Crowley is just this like git essentially.
yeah. He's just a cheeky git, and you love him for it.
So good.
Well, like obviously the show did well because it got a second season, and this is when they like. So there's only one book of Good Omens, so season 2 happened, and so that was all the original story. And they've confirmed last month actually they are making a season 3.
Did Gaiman get involved in writing series?
Yeah, he's been writing. He's been like writing the next 2 seasons. It's all him. And he said basically this was the original idea that him and Terry thought of like throughout. So it's not like he's just making this up for the sake of it. He's actually continuing it. And yeah, I think it just gets so much better.
I love this, and I think if you told me that Gaiman wasn't part of series 2, I wouldn't watch on to series 2.
Yeah, that was my concern at first, but then once I saw he was doing it, I was like, you know what? Then I have faith. Because that was kind of my issue with American Gods.
Okay, yeah.
They kept changing showrunners for each season. Because like for the first season, they had Brian Fuller, who's one of the best showrunners ever. Because he did the Hannibal TV series, if you've ever watched that.
No, I haven't. I know that it's well loved, though.
Yeah, so he did that, but then season 2, they got someone else. And season 3, they got another person, then got cancelled. To have a consistent vision throughout the entire show. Like, you can see it's the same show.
Yeah, that's good. I've got a couple of Neil Gaiman books over there. I've still got my copy of Neverwhere. I'm just looking over to my shelf for those who are watching. I've got a shelf over there. And I've got a copy of Anansi Boys that I've not actually read, but I do want to read that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like one of my charity shop pickups.
Oh. But, Bobby, what's my required reading?
Well, in 2 weeks... I said, I think it was either in the Doctor Who episode or the episode before, I said, we're going to change the format just a bit. We're still going to try to lean into picking stuff that the other one hasn't seen, but sometimes we will go with stuff that both of us have seen. And I was having a look at kind of the lists we curated, and there was one that we'd both seen. It had been crossed off. I was like, but I want to talk about it. I think, because we're both such film and TV nerds and music nerds, there's a lot of big things that we'll never talk about because we've both seen them. And this isn't a huge one, but I still think it's pretty big. It's led by a big actor, it has the debut of another big actor, and based on a comic book. And, what's more culty than comic books? So, in 2 weeks, Tim, we're going to talk about The Mask, starring Jim Carrey.
I'm ready. Let's go.
That's the Blu-ray I've got too. That is the Blu-ray I've got.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I actually had to get mine imported because I got it years ago for like 7 or 8 years after the Blu-ray was released in America. It just wasn't available here.
Really?
Yeah. So I've got a Region 1 Blu-ray.
Oh, wow.
Obviously most Blu-ray players are not region locked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh. But this is exactly the same cover, which is super annoying. I think I probably paid like 20 quid for it.
I got this like 8 years ago now, so I think this was like a fiver where I got it.
Yeah, I mean, I had mine I probably got it in 2011 or so, and it was still before it was released here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It might have been a bit before that, actually, but yeah, it was. And Yeah, we'll talk about it next time. But yeah. We're going to talk about the mask.
I'm excited. If you'd like to follow us on social media, I am the Tim Martini on all social platforms, and you can also find my music on Spotify. Bobby, where can they find you?
Oh, I am on X. I am on Instagram as bdavis_creative. You can follow all of my creative endeavors and artwork, as well as my work with Purpose Wrestling, which you can look at on at Wrestle Purpose on X and at Purpose Wrestling everywhere else. Find us on YouTube, watch some full shows. We're on Patreon. Find us all there. And you've got a new project, Tim. We've got a new project as well.
We do.
We are launching a family-friendly wrestling company as well. So Purpose is a bit more adult-orientated, a bit more grown-up. Well, we like kid-friendly wrestling too. We love family-friendly wrestling. So go follow Mighty Pro Wrestling as well. We're doing our very first show in February 17th in New Addington. Come down especially if you've got family and kids or little brothers and sisters, bring them down. It'll be great.
Awesome. And well, we have more socials to plug now for this podcast, don't we? Because we are on Twitter, we're on Reddit, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and as you can see, we're on YouTube.
Hello.
And that's CC Society Pod, literally on all platforms, right?
Yeah, CC Society Pod. You can obviously just go on YouTube and type out Cold Classic Society Podcast. You'll find us. I'll also...
you're already on YouTube, so just hit the subscribe button and notification bell.
And if you're listening to this on any podcast platform, in the description will be links to the YouTube.
Yes. So you can see our lovely faces as we talk nerdy shit.
Yes.
And of course, if you want to send us an email, it's ccsocietypod@gmail.com. I've been Tim Martini.
No.
No?
Go to hell.
That's Bobby Davis.
I told you, since I've written, my complaint about no one ever say goodbye on the phone in movies and TV, I'm never saying it again. And I will do it I will do it based on whatever we're doing, and this time we're doing things about heaven and hell, so go to hell, Tim.
No, I'll probably go to heaven. Bye.